If you want to go from being someone who is ambitious, who has goals, who wants healthier habits, but keeps finding yourself knowing what to do, but not actually doing the thing, to being someone who consistently shows up for themselves and follows through with their goals, then you must learn the skills that will help you be the type of person who leads themselves. You will not fully be in the driver's seat of your own life until you become the version of you who can lead yourself. Hello and welcome back to the channel. If you are new around here, my name is Brianna, and around here we chat everything wellness, self-improvement, and taking action in alignment with who you want to be and the life that you want to create. So if that is something you are looking to do, then you should subscribe and stick around. So diving into it, being self-led is taking ownership and direction over your thoughts, actions, and decisions to take action toward your goals and do the things that are in alignment with who you want to be and the life that you want to create. It's the gap between knowing what to do and having the intentions to do something and actually doing the thing, which is where all the magic happens. So let's talk about the skills that will help you be this person. One thing that can completely change how you show up for yourself and can get you to follow through with things is changing what's going on up here, or at least changing how you respond to what's going on up there. It's learning how to change your mindset and changing how you relate to and respond to your thoughts. It's learning how to direct your thoughts to ones that get you to take action. Most people think they're aware of their thoughts, but if you are struggling to follow through with something, then you likely are not as aware as you think. So step one is to become more aware of your thoughts. Again, if you tell yourself you're going to do something or have goals around something, but then you don't do it, then there's something missing. So we want to become more aware of our thoughts because we can't change what we don't know. So to become more aware, you can try practices like thought dumping, where maybe you pick an allotted amount of time or allotted pieces of paper and you just dump out and write out all of the thoughts that are coming to your head. You can also voice note yourself and essentially do the exact same thing. You can journal with prompts to help you dig deeper, or you can take time to just sit still and notice the thoughts floating around in your mind. This may feel a little uncomfortable at first, but that's okay. You can just remind yourself that growth requires some discomfort. That's just part of it. Our thoughts drive our actions, so when we have more awareness of our thoughts, we can have a better understanding of why we're doing what we're doing. That increased conscious awareness can get us to choose new thoughts that get us to take action. And that is the foundation of how you lead yourself. Choosing the thoughts that get you to take action. This is how you become the version of you who holds yourself accountable to doing the things that would benefit you in your life. So practice paying attention to your thoughts, paying attention to how your thoughts are impacting your behaviors, and in a way, talking back to your brain. You can practice choosing thoughts that sound like a respectful coach or a loving but no BS parent. Over time, you'll get better at this and just find what works best for you. And just as a side note, learning how to do this and developing this skill does not mean that you will never not follow through with something again, or that redirecting your thoughts will always get you to make a different decision. But it will make such a difference. This has been the thing that has impacted my life the most. There is so much more I could talk about here, so if this is a topic that you want to learn more about to really help yourself develop this skill, then go ahead and watch this video here. Being self-led also means cultivating a strong sense of self-responsibility. Instead of blaming external factors for our actions, we are taking full responsibility for our choices, our actions, and our mindsets. When we are not taking responsibility for ourselves, we are taking the control and putting it in the hands of someone or something else's. And in this cycle, we just don't feel great because one, we're not consistently taking action in alignment with the things that we want or the life that we want to create. And two, we don't feel in control of our own circumstances, which just doesn't feel very good. So we can acknowledge that there are things that are not in our control while still taking responsibility for our decisions and attitudes, for what we do and what we don't do. For example, let's say you have goals to eat healthier and you go to a wedding and you're like, well, I was at a wedding this weekend, so I had no control over what I was eating. That's placing the responsibility of what you're eating on the wedding. But the wedding does not control your actions and decisions. Taking responsibility looks like I went to a wedding this weekend, and although the food choices didn't really align with my current food goals, I decided that it was worth it to indulge in them. It's the difference in I got really stressed, so I couldn't work out, and I was feeling really stressed, so I chose to read instead of work out to help change my headspace. right? We are not out here blaming other people or external circumstances for our actions. We're focusing on what we can control and that we are responsible for our own decisions. While other factors may be involved, you always want to come back to what is in my control. You have to be able to acknowledge where you're responsible for your own actions, decisions, and attitude. One thing that you can do to help practice taking more radical responsibility is adding "I chose to" your statements. Going from "I couldn't work out" to "I chose to sleep in a little extra instead of working out today." We also want to cultivate more self-compassion. There are so many benefits to self-compassion and having more self-compassion, but the reason I included it in today's video is because it helps us show up for ourselves. It helps us better understand ourselves and our behaviors and ultimately take aligned action. So let's talk about what self-compassion actually is. It is not letting yourself off the hook. It's not just telling yourself that it's okay. It's not just being complacent with yourself. It is acceptance and understanding. It's coming from a place of curiosity and neutrality. It's talking to ourselves how we might a friend. It's showing up for yourself and holding yourself accountable to the standards that you set for yourself. It's noticing where adjustments need to be made and choosing to take action toward that. Self-compassion is kindness and understanding and choosing to do something about it. Choosing to show up for yourself. So to help yourself become someone with more self-compassion, there are 3 things that I want you to know. Know that self-compassion is a skill. It is something that you can work on and get better at, just like you can get better at playing an instrument. Also know that you can change. Our brains are able to rewire so we can change how we talk to ourselves and we can change our behaviors. Also know you are human. We are all human and we all experience setbacks and messing up and failures and we all have flaws. This is just part of the human experience. And you might be surprised just how much accepting that really ends up bringing so much peace. So at least let that plant some seeds. But let's also talk about some things you can specifically do to help you improve this skill set. When you notice yourself speaking to yourself negatively, beating yourself up, or judging yourself, you can pause and try to switch into a mindset of neutrality and curiosity. Try to gain understanding. Okay, why did I do that? Why did I make that decision? What about my circumstances might be influencing my behavior? Am I really stressed? Did I sleep good last night? Do I have more on my plate than usual? You want to try to understand why you're doing what you're doing. And you probably have found that it is easier to have compassion for your friends or other people in your life than it is to have compassion towards yourself. But we can actually use that to our advantage. When you find yourself talking to yourself negatively, you can visualize your friend or maybe a child in your life telling you what they did as if it were the thing that you did and envision how you would respond to them. Then you can take your response to them and talk to yourself in that same way. Tell yourself those same things. This may seem kind of silly at first, but again, this is a skill set that we have to improve on. And this can help you practice having more compassion for yourself and talking to yourself differently. You can even make a routine out of when you notice some self-critical thoughts coming through, you jot them down, and when you have more time, you later go and journal and do the same practice where you respond to that as if it was your friend telling you that they're in this situation, that they're saying that about themselves. Again, this is a skill, so the more you practice it, the more natural it will become, which is kind of the whole point. You can also look for data. What are the actual facts of the situation versus whatever story your brain is coming up with? And you can also remind yourself this is just a normal part of being human. And something I just want to point out is our brains naturally pay more attention to the negative than the positive, and thoughts definitely become habitual. So know that even as you become more self-compassionate, you are likely still going to have self-critical and self-judgmental thoughts. And that's okay. Over time, they do become less frequent and less loud, but I personally believe the real difference is in how we respond to them. When we build our self-compassion, we might have a critical thought and just brush it off and barely pay attention to it, instead of believing it and letting it make us feel bad about ourselves. I think this is such a great topic and not something a lot of us are taught. So if this is a topic that you'd want me to dive into a little bit deeper and make a whole video on it on its own, then definitely let me know in the comments below. If you want to be the type of person who leads themselves, then you need to be able to navigate your emotions without letting them control your actions. Emotional regulation is having awareness and acceptance of our emotions, as well as being able to experience our emotions without reacting to them impulsively. And this is a skill that we all need to have. But if we do not have strong emotional regulation skills, then we are absolutely going to have a harder time getting ourselves to do the thing and have a harder time changing our habits and behaviors. If we currently let our emotions run us and be the driver of our decisions and our actions, then we are much more likely to do things that don't align with our goals, as well as avoid doing things that align with our goals. For example, we'll be more likely to skip workouts when we feel overwhelmed, or make impulsive food choices when we feel stressed, or avoid working on a project or doing hard tasks when we feel anxious. You can probably see where this can create an issue. So, how do we get better at regulating our emotions? The first step is to change your relationship with your emotions. You want to be able to notice that you are experiencing an emotion without instantly reacting to it. And you'll find that this is easier to do in some scenarios than it is others. You also want to be able to feel your emotions without making them bad. Emotions are just emotions, and when we make them bad or see them in a negative light, then we're more likely to respond to them negatively, or avoid them, or try to fix them by doing things to distract ourselves. But when we can fully accept our emotions and not make them something negative and know that they are just part of the human experience, it becomes easier to just sit with them and let them pass. If I notice I am feeling a sense of sadness, I can just let myself be sad and be okay with that, and let myself be in that emotion without making it this really uncomfortable thing that I'm trying to find my way out of. I can know that I'm okay, I'm not in harm's way, and just let it pass. Here are a few things that can help you strengthen your emotional regulation. You can identify and name your emotions. This can help you handle and have awareness of your emotions without reacting to them. You can practice just observing your emotions without reacting to them, and bonus points if you try getting curious about them. You can view them as messengers and understand that they can help you understand yourself better, and you can work on your stress levels and regulating your nervous system. When you are stressed or in a heightened nervous system state, you are more likely to be in a heightened emotional state. And when that is the case, it is tougher to think with the more logical, rational side of our brain, which is the part of our brain that helps us with self-control. But when we're able to manage our stress levels and regulate our nervous system, we are going to have a much easier time regulating our emotions as well. When you learn to sit with discomfort instead of trying to escape it, you'll find it becomes much easier to follow through things and actually stick with your goals. One last component that can really help you become the version of yourself who shows up to taking action in alignment with the things that you want is your environment. This probably affects your actions more than you realize. For example, if you're at a friend's house and there is chips and salsa and candy on the counter, you are going to eat different than if you are at a friend's house and they have cut up fruit on the counter. Or you may find you're much more likely to journal in the morning if you keep your journal on your bedstand. Or you may find that you have an easier time staying focused on your work when you keep your phone out of your office. Making changes to your surroundings can remove friction and make it easier for you to do the thing. So you want to think about, how can I make adjustments to my environment to make it easier to show up for myself? To make it easier to do the thing. For example, if you want to have healthier eating habits, you can keep healthier foods in your home. You can make sure you stay stocked up on fruits and veggies, and making sure you have enough food so that you're less likely to go get takeout. You could meal prep, so all you have to do is heat something up to have a healthy homemade meal. You could have a list of healthier restaurants that you keep in mind that you know that you like, that you can suggest when your friends want to get together to eat. There are so many ways that we can make little tweaks to our environment. And the people that you spend time around and the content you consume also are a part of our surroundings that influence our behavior. If you spend more time around people who have healthier habits, then you are more likely to adopt similar habits. If you spend more time around people who are action takers and who follow through with their goals, then you are more likely to adopt similar tendencies. If you spend more time around people who have a good relationship with themselves, then you are more likely to have a good relationship with yourself. If you don't currently have many people in your life who align with the type of person you want to be, then you want to think about how you can put yourself in a position to meet more like-minded people. And there is so much I could say about content, but for today's video, I'll just say experiment with what seems to work well for you, with what may help or support you. For example, if your social media feed is a bunch of super indulgent food, you're more likely to want those types of foods or think about those types of foods. And on the flip side, if your social media feed was mostly delicious looking, really healthy food, you're more likely to think about those kinds of foods and want those kinds of foods. You can also think about this through the lens of the type of people you surround yourself with. You can listen to people's podcasts who have similar success to what you want to have in your own life, and use that to help you take on mindsets and perspectives that will help you show up to your goals. And don't get me wrong, that does not mean that you need to go find some super type A driven, disciplined type of self-help podcast, but maybe you listen to a more uplifting podcast rather than a toxic, gossipy podcast, at least more often. But again, what you want to think about is how can I make adjustments to my environment to make it easier for me to do the thing, to help me show up for myself in the ways that I want to. Becoming a self-led person will be what helps you make any change that you want to see in your life. And as a quick recap, the skills that will help you be this type of person include managing your own mind, self-responsibility, self-compassion, emotional regulation, and designing an environment that supports your goals. I hope you got value from this video. Thank you so much for sticking around. Leave a comment and let me know what you thought about this topic or if there are any topics you want me to expand on. But thank you so much for being here. Have a fabulous day, and I will see you in the next video.